Hi, my name is Michelle Ortiz, and I will be talking to you about managing the Apple. In the agenda today, we will have a brief introduction of how the company came to be, its origin, and their founders. We will define some of the topics that we will be using throughout the presentation. In our discussion, we will be touching the mission and vision of the company and the strategic plan they used to achieve those goals. Also, we will see how the change in management affected this company, and lastly, we will have a brief conclusion. Apple Incorporated was founded in 1976 by Steve Jobs, Steve Wozniak, and Ronald Payne. Their first product was the Apple I. As you can see in this picture, this model was the big, bulky computer, but it was the most innovative product at that time. All of these founders had their own significant role to play in the company, but after some internal conflicts, they decided to go their separate ways. Steve Jobs returned to Apple when they bought the company where he was working. He then worked on restructuring the company by making unique, powerful, budget-friendly computers. With this, he helped them get out of the financial rut that they were in, and he led them to getting into the market competition, creating Apple the brand that we all know and love. This made them one of the top 5 profit-earning companies with a net income of almost $50 billion. In the topic definition, we have management, strategies, strategic formulation, strategic implementation, SWOT analysis, quality, and conflicts. Management are activities that are organized to achieve the company's goals. These activities include decision-making, planning, leading, controlling, and organizing resources. The strategies are plans placed by the leaders, aka management, to achieve a specific goal. These plans usually are for long term and contain tasks, decisions, measurements, and expectation about the company's performance. The determination and creation of strategies is called strategic formulation, and the process in which they are executed is called strategy implementation. The SWOT analysis is the formulation of strategies by taking into consideration the company's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Quality is the degree in which the customer's expectations are met. This measures the excellence of the product and how they are going to use them. Conflicts are disagreements that come from the difference of opinions, the difference in points of view, and by misunderstandings. To be a successful company, they must have a unique vision and mission to follow. Part of their vision is that the man is the creator of change in this world, that he should be above the systems and structures, not subordinated by them. This illustrates the man being able to rise above the system and controlling it, instead of being controlled by it. They are committed to bringing the best computing experience to their customers through their innovative hardware, software, and internet services. Here, Steve Jobs tells us, if you're working on something exciting that you really care about, you don't have to be pushed. The vision pulls you. And that's how they became one of the leading companies of electronics. In their strategic planning, we have the SWOT analysis. With this analysis, Apple determines the factors that will help them formulate their strategies. Apple is very well known for their leaps into innovation. They maintain themselves in the competition by ensuring their customers with the latest technology. This leads them to be a company where stockholders are willing to invest in their products because of their reputation and brand. Their brand is known worldwide, and their image is the most valuable than any other competitor. The thing is that Apple has a policy that limits the distribution of their products by any other seller that is not recognized by Apple itself. Their market is usually the high end because of their high prices. The customers for these products will only vary in the high and medium class, which leaves out the lower class market. This affects them very heavily on their profit. Right now, the demand for products that are produced by Apple are very high, especially since this generation is very technology savvy. Children are starting to get these types of products from a very young age, which means more product demand. This gives way to Apple for creating other products that are completely different from everything else they have done and different from their competitors as well, to keep branching out into different products. It is also an opportunity to expand the distribution area and the facilitation for others to be able to sell their products. Another bad thing is that the brand's image is very well known. Therefore, they're faced with a lot of imitation of the design of their products. This also brings in the attempts of fraud by other companies to sell products as if they were Apple. This leads to competitors using innovation from Apple and adding them to their own design and making it more accessible. Accessibility is hurt when the labor cost rises in the locations where the products are made, and this created needs to increment the product's price. And this is the SWOT strategy that they have to create in order to be implemented and be a company that is successful. Another strategy that Apple adopted is the product portfolio, where they make a plan to determine the allocation of resources for the achievement of the company's profitability. They use this plan in order to minimize the resources while maximizing the product manufacturing. Here, we can see the development of the Apple computer throughout the years. As you can see, their computers had multiple parts, but with this strategy, they decided to use the unibody construction design, which replaces many parts with just one single piece of aluminum. This helped them increase their level of precision, which made them use this method on all of their other devices and products, so that their design is simple to implement and seamless. Their idea is to have manufacturers produce simplicity. For this, Apple needs them to work harder than those who use their products. And that's part of their vision. Apple went through a big management change. Steve Jobs was responsible for most of the decisions and structures of Apple. His way of management is more described as a dictatorship. But when Tim Cook became the CEO of Apple, due to Jobs' passing, management turned to a more democratic standpoint. This made management sway away from what their vision is, the human above the system. Cook leads a democratic management in which the board has more control of the decision making. As a result, the innovation boost that they have with Jobs dimmed down. The company had to adapt to the change followed by this. Cook took the initiative to provide a plan for easy transition. This meant that they needed to get used to the new form of management. Cook changed Apple into one brand that listens to their customers, to one that accepts feedback and goes forth from there. The changes brought by new management need to be appropriately implemented. The aspect of cost, scope, value, and goals must be considered always. While change is inevitable, Apple has always been able to adapt quickly and thoroughly. This is because the company is always trying new things, coming out with innovative products and having different challenges. Apple is consistently performing as expected with their releases and their products. Their conflicts or issues are always handled properly, and they have been able to be resolved. Cook's leadership has made the company come out of the secrets and into the consumer's light. Lastly, we have some conclusions. We have that having a strong management is key into developing a successful organization. Strategy, formulation, and implementation help mold the company's path into the achievement of goals. Also, the SWOT analysis helps the company's management formulate the best strategies in order to have a successful outcome. Also, innovation is risky and consuming, but being attentive to what the consumer needs is the best way to mold the product or service. Change is inevitable, but the handling of changes can be implemented in a seamless way where the employees aren't conflicted and where conflicts can be resolved. Thank you for your attention.